How y'all doing? It's Tuesday evening. About, let's see, let's just say July 1st, because I know it was a little bit before the 4th. I went out to my dad's house up in Citronelle, 40 miles north of here, and I seen him for the first time in years, actually. And during that trip, it was an objective of mine the whole time going down there, I guess, to let him talk to my mother. In my head, and I still do. So before I get it going, I think I'm gonna title this video "The Parent Trap" because it seems appropriate. I tried getting my mother and father back together last July, and it's been an ongoing thing since then, right? And I got back into contact with my dad, who we was talking, almost every single. We was talking every day. I went to the hospital. I went up there and seen him when I could, took him drinks, whatever he needed. Going to see my dad. I felt bad for him. I love my father very much, even though I don't really know much about him, to be honest with you. I haven't been around him that much in my life, unfortunately. And what leads me to this, and what led me to trying to get my parents back together. Anybody that knows me know that me and my wife has always been the sole proprietors or whatever with our children. There's an old saying: it takes a village to raise children. I didn't agree with that. I'm still on the fence about it. And my point there is we've never had babysitters. Sure, my kids just went and stayed every now and then here recently. But before that, with people or friends. But before that, they didn't go anywhere. They were either with me or their mother. We didn't let them go anywhere because I didn't trust anybody. Because I've always had a black cloud over my head thinking something bad was going to happen to my children. And if I wasn't there to protect them, I would feel guilty. But as they get older, right, and I see just one household really, enough for them. They need family, and I have my aunt Lana, and I have my mom every now and then whenever she decides to call. I haven't talked to my mother in a couple days. I tried calling her, texting her, but that's who we are, so I don't hold it against her. Me and my mother is the same person, so I don't hold it against her. I get in the moods too, Mama. I get it. I don't want to talk to anybody for days either. So I'm not blaming you. But I wish you'd call me because I'm worried about you and I love you. And where was I even getting at? I'm an emotional wreck here lately. I try to put on a happy face here, but I'm an emotional wreck. But let's get back to the point of the video. July. What's this month? March. So let's say 5 plus 3, 8 months I've been trying to get my parents back together, and they've been talking, off and on texting, and she'll go stages and not talking to him for a week or two, and then all of a sudden pop up, talk to him. But I don't blame her, because I know who she is, and she's my mother, and she's just like me. It's not how it looks. It's not like she's ignoring anybody on purpose. We think different than most people, me and my mother. We're weird people, right? We're always so protective. We're always too cautious, very cautious. If we're being honest, there is a difference between me and my mother, and there's a difference between me and my father as well. I took care of my children from day one. Do I understand why my parents put me up for adoption? Yeah, I do. And I appreciate what y'all did. I do. Without that, I would have never knew my dad, Artis, who passed away in 2015. I would have never had the privilege of knowing him. But my dad is dead and gone, and nothing I can do can bring him back. My children miss their grandfather, but he's 6 feet under. So I tried what gets me back to, the village thing. I'm trying to get back out and branch out to my blood, my family, my father in particular, Benny Morse. That's my dad. That's my blood, that's my flesh, that's everything. And we're just alike, whether you want to admit it or not, old man. Now, I love you with all my heart, that. But I did. I stopped talking to my dad as much in January. And I'll tell you why. I got tired on both sides of the fence, with my mother and my dad. I got tired of being the middleman. And for the record, That might not have been anybody's intention, but that's how I felt. So I said, if y'all are going to work this thing out, if y'all really want to be together, regardless of what I want, because in the end of the day, y'all don't have to be together because that's what I want, or if that's what I think is best for my kids. Because it gets me back. I know I'm all over the place, but the village part, I need places where I can take my children to be around family. And I don't really have that. Even though I have a lot of family, but I don't talk to them because ever since I had children, I went underground, basically. I haven't done anything in 13 years. I haven't had no nightlife, no nothing. And I'm not complaining. Actually, that's a pat on my shoulder. Not many kids at that age could have done that day in and day out. And I don't think I get the credit I deserve from my parents. I really don't. I really don't. The way I feel, to be honest with you, or to be honest with anybody, and it's just might be me. I feel like I'm a fall guy. It goes wrong. So that's why I stepped out. I stepped out. If my parents want to be together, they'll do it because they both said they do. And I got tired of playing the game. And for the record, my dad, he wasn't playing any games. But my mother is being very protective, and I get that. And my mother will always be my main priority outside of my children and my wife. Even over my dad, Benny. Even over my dead dad, Artis. My mother is my mother. I'm a mama's boy. So I'm always going to be out to protect her. But a lot of stress that I've been under lately is wondering, did I do the right thing? Was I selfish? We're trying to get them back together. But at the same time, right, if my mother didn't want it, she could have nipped it in the bud and said no. So what's the point of this video? I don't know. I don't even know what the point of Tuesday is. And I don't even know what the point of Mars is. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm an emotional wreck. I'm always anxious. I don't know what I'm doing. I used to be on top of things, but now I'm not. And that's one reason I tried, I guess, manipulating the universe into putting me back into my childhood so I could learn to live again. You know, I tried getting a set of parents together that I never really had to begin with. And ironically enough, it's my blood mother, my blood father. And up until this point, to my knowledge, he's still trying to talk to her, and she's still giving him the runaround. And that's not a knock towards you, mother. There's a lot of knocks on both sides. I've developed a lot of bad habits this past year, specifically when I started my YouTube channel. I drank heavily when I was a teenager. Then I quit. I didn't have a beer for 12 years. And then I picked up to help me sleep when I was working second shift, 3 to 11. I'd get off 11, have a couple beers, I'd pass out. Now I work first shift. Supposed to be going back on second shift, but I'm not sure when. But now I work first shift. And I have 8 hours of daylight basically to drink. Well, not daylight, but before I have to go to bed. 8 hours. And you can say, well, Jeremy, you had that on 3 to 11 too. No, I could actually come home, have a beer, and lay down and not feel guilty about laying down at midnight as opposed to coming home and laying down at 3 in the evening after having a couple beers. I can't do that. And you might say, well, Jeremy, why do you have to drink in general? If I know it sounds like an excuse or cliche, but if I don't, I'm no good to be around in this frame of mind. It leads me back to getting my parents back together. I wanted them to fix me. I wanted my parents to fix me. At the same time, you might say, Jeremy, you're about to be 30 years old, man. You're a grown-ass man. You don't need your parents to fix you. And you would be right. You would be right. I'm not asking for financial or anything. I'm good. I can take care of myself. I can take care of my family, and I always have. That's not the issue. This is all emotional support that I was looking for. Because I've been on a bad road, right? Just the way I've been blowing money like it ain't nothing. And that, if y'all remember, if anybody's been watching me since day one, a couple videos I made, how tight I was with money, and I had a lot of it, and I hoarded it. But here lately, I've just been blowing the hell out of it, and I think that's one reason I'm depressed as I can be. That's one reason it is. But at the same time, I still got my money, right? I still got it, but I spent a little bit more than I wanted to. So I go trying to, what I did was I knew something was wrong with me. Even when it was just beginning, I knew something. I felt it in my head. I'm not thinking right. I'm not thinking right. All right. But I think what I tried to do was get my parents back together. You know, I tried helping me, but I think it made it worse. It did. to an extent. For me, not as far as them or my kids. For me, as far as stress goes, well, not stress, but stress, anxiety as well. Wondering, hey, did my mother text my dad? If not, he might be mad, or he might be mad at me that she didn't. Even though that might not be the case, that's the way I see things, and that's the way I interpret them, and the way I feel. I feel like I gotta make every single body happy. I feel like I have to be the pleaser of the party. I always have to make sure everybody's happy, and that's my big problem. And it got to me. It did. It got to me. So that way, and when it came to that, I said, time out. Time out. Let me get my head together. I haven't talked to my dad much this January. And since then, he's had another operation on his other foot, if y'all remember, that I feel I should have been there with him, and I feel bad for that, but maybe soon. Still looking for a point of this video. I'm just documenting, right, what I'm going through. But I'm gonna go ahead and just toss this video up to being a random raw video, right? It really don't make much sense. I'm just me rambling. But maybe it'll make some sense to some people, right? I'm wondering if I'm doing the right thing or if I'm doing the wrong thing. Am I handling it right? Because my mother is very, very wishy-washy, and so am I, 100%. So you might say, Jeremy, well, stop playing with people's emotions. That's not it. To me, there's no way you can be too cautious, no matter who you're dealing with.